So this is a presentation on behalf of Homi Bhabha team, AI assistant. This is our team, basically myself, Prashant, Aditya, Madhu, Haripriya, Jai Shankar, Chandar, and Sachin. Excuse me, sorry. Next button is not working. Okay, so this is the technologies track. So front end, React, JS, and Tailwind. For the microservices, fast API, and the different kind of compute jobs, I used Asif's solution. We had three solutions ready. One is our own solution that we built. And we had Jai Shankar who had built that whole thing in a notebook. The only thing was I couldn't get both of them working on my machine. I needed some time to get Prashant's thing. So I decided to use Asif's solution, basically the microservice part, and I had built over it over a period of time. And the database it was using was MariaDB. Infra was Spark and Apache Tika, like everybody else. And AI ML is the same. At the end, I used just DaVinci. The microservice chunks, I was able to kind of get it down that they were almost exact, and I didn't even need an LLM. But I used DaVinci just so that sometimes there were typos and extra stuff and all that. So which I did not want. And so that part was fixed by DaVinci. Search, combination of elastics and semantic search, and voice generation was 11 labs. So Jai did a lot of work on this whole voice thing, and as well as he had another parallel solution using a Jupyter notebook, which was really good. It worked on the notebook really well when he demoed it, but I couldn't really get it working on my machine. But
guys, would you, after this presentation, would it make sense, or if Jay is ready, would you like to show your notebook work, Jay, since you have worked so hard in creating an alternate?
I don't think I have it ready, actually. I mean, I can show that what I have, but I don't think it's ready for presentation.
No, that's all right. Just walk through it. We are all here to celebrate the hard work each of us have done. So I would like you to, if you're comfortable, just walk through it. It doesn't have to work.
Yeah, I'm heading home in 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
Continue, please.
So this is basically the architecture. I won't go with this microservice path, this everybody knows. But what I did was the chat bot would, so whenever a user provides a query, the chat bot would go to my top chunk service. And my top chunk service would pull down the chunks and get the top chunk, correct? And I've done quite a lot of work on that top chunk service. And then after that, it would build a prompt for the LLM, and it would build a optimized chunk. And from there, I would send it off to basically, sorry, my pointer is not working, the 11 labs service, the leftmost box on the screen. And that would generate voice and come back to the chatbot. The 11th lab service, that's the one which is quite slow. And as you give it more and more content, it becomes really, really slow. But we have got a really good voice of you, almost like sounding like you. So thanks to Jai's work on that, he did a lot of work on that. Any questions so far?
You should share after this presentation. Share your experiences of what struggles you had to go through, or what techniques you used to create a good imitation of the voice.
Okay. So this is the same. I'm not going to talk about it. Just wanted to tell you our challenges, right? The UI was really, really hard for me. I'll tell you this. I was literally stretched. And I can tell you why. I mean, yeah. So basically, building everything in one screen was really, really hard, and it got really complicated. Different paths, different firing, different components in the UI to bring it all together, and the multiple solutions. Correct. So which to use? As you said earlier, right? So everybody has got beautiful working code individually, and to bring it all together in a UI and making it all work was tough. And we had a lot of environment problems and integration problems. So all these challenges. Any questions so far? I'll show the demo and then maybe you'll have more questions. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't look at the screen. Just look over here and assume everything is working and top.
Yeah, so this is basically the UI. I'll clear it up first. I'm trying to maximize it here. Okay. Let me start with a clean version of it. So this is typically how your the chat bot would be. I wanted to improve the branding and stuff like that, but I didn't have the time. I have 3 buttons here. So this one generates chunks. So I noticed that everybody wanted to also show the chunks, and Asif wanted to know what exactly is returned by the cross encoder. So this part was really difficult. I wanted to get it done, but among all the other things it is doing, to get back the chunks, this was hard. And so this send part, as I said, it sends the query, it microservice, and the microservice sends that information. So the microservice gets a whole bunch of chunks, and then the top chunk gets the right chunk, and the right chunk then passes it on to the LLM optimizer, and the LLM optimizer gets the content and it sends it to the 11 labs, and then finally I get the output. And now let's test it out with Asif's questions. Any questions so far? This is a little slow because, okay, I bombed immediately.
Internal URL 500. Okay.
Let me kill everything and start again. Sorry.
Albert, at 59, it's a prompt, not prompt one.
Yeah, I think I was playing with it last night and I screwed it up.
That's all right.
I'll just use prompt too. So the slowness is because of the 11 Labs API. It takes some time to actually. So the key components of attention is neural involves dot product to measure the similarity between the query, the key, and exponential result to increase the focus on most relevant elements. So this is the magical voice that I talked about. And hopefully you can hear it.
Albert, you need to share the sound in Zoom. In Zoom settings at the bottom, there is a share sound.
My Zoom settings, yeah.
Yes, somewhere here, there should be a setting, view options. In the view options, cancel this.
Yeah, no, say share and then enter. So share computer sound and put your password away. That's the one-time thing allowing. Yeah, you type it. You don't.
I don't even know what my password is. This is my Zoom password, correct?
No, this is your computer password.
Oh, okay.
make sure that the share is turned on. And is your computer volume not on mute?
I think there's a problem with that box.
The top right, you see sound. Left of it. Yeah.
Now, I think it's a Zoom thing. Once you have allowed to share, you still have to share the sound.
No, but we are not listening anything here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, have to figure out how to share those generated voice recording. Go ahead. Any questions?
So what we can do, Asif, we can probably like put the other questions and look at the answers.
Yes.
Let's look at them. Yes.
And this one is generate chunks. So these are the actual chunks that were generated out of from the microservice.
Yeah, let's look at those.
So what I did was, this was the chunk that I got. Actually, as is, this would be good enough to kind of display on the screen and get 11 labs to generate the voice. But it's, in some cases, you get different kind of text and they don't mean anything. So by presenting this chunk to the LLM, that is slightly more summarized. So I'll take the next question.
So can I ask a question? Don't clear it. So Asif, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So we look at the chunks over here, right?
Yes.
And the next one is, so what are neural networks? And the score of it is like 0.679 and 0.68.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, that is coming. That score is coming because your Elasticsearch has given the result. And see, this is one of the things. When you do your search, if you're using dot product for similarity for search, it tends to favor short answers. Whereas if you use, if you use cosine, if you use dot product, it favors longer answers. That is one aspect. The other aspect is when you use it for vector search, like a question answer, don't use and this is one of the subtleties in sentence encoders. There are symmetric sentence encoders and they are asymmetric. Because answers are longer than questions usually, you want it to be, you should use a sentence transformer that has been trained on asymmetric data. So those are the MS macro series. If you look at the table of sentence transformers, pick an asymmetric one. You will have better results.
Why is that, Asif?
Because it is literally trained with data in which the one sentence is shorter and the other is longer. And so it tends to pull up results which are asymmetric. So if you look at this question, your question is very short. What are the key components of attention in a neural network? But when you want the answer, you want longer answers.
So there was a perfect hit on that question and the third search rank, right? Because there were 3 words that kind of made the hit for it, right?
Exactly, that tripped it. But it still is pretty good. Why do we use softmax in the classifier? When discussing classifiers and attention models, somebody asked why we use softmax at the end. The intuition behind it is that softmax is a way of probing a list of numbers, exaggerating the largest value amongst them. Partly true. Let's go down and see what chunks it is made up of. Given what you do, your search result needs a bit of improvement, guys. Yeah. For the similar question, some other teams had better results. See, softmax does two things. First of all, it converts a bunch of numbers it projects it into the 0 to 1 interval and adds in such a way that they all add up to 1. All the probabilities add up to 1. Converts them, each of the numbers, into a probability such that the cumulative probability is 1. So that is a normalizing effect. The second thing, and you can do that irrespective of what the inputs are, whether they are negative, positive mixtures. The second aspect that softmax does is it exaggerates the bigger ones. Because of exponentiation, the big ones stand out even more. So those are the two key elements of the softmax function. And how much it stands out, you control with the temperature parameter. So let's try the next one. It's a very well done product. UI is beautiful and everything. I think just a little bit somewhere on the search, we need to improve. It's the same question.
Oh, sorry. My bad. This one, correct?
Yeah. Also, to the LLM, when you prompt, did you tell it to give you an answer no shorter than, let's say, 200 or 300 tokens? That helps, because your LLM, I think it's a bit of a LLM thing. Which LLM are you using?
DaVinci.
DaVinci.
We tried with Mistral, but Mistral was giving massive pieces of content. I have a notebook on that, but massive pieces of content and lot of hallucination at the end. Why, like pieces of that. So I just couldn't use it.
You were using the Mistral 7 billion?
Yes, some bloke, the one that Jai had helped to kind of identify.
Okay. Let's try this.
Did I
Let's
press
see.
the button? I think I pressed the button. So here it hallucinates, calls it recurrent attention graphs.
That is true.
That was happening in other teams.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
One more thing, you're preserving the context. The dot product between query and key measures a similarity between them. That is the answer to the previous question, not to this. The key advantages of RAM shouldn't contain that as the answer.
I think one of the things I realized is sometimes the results, when my microservice is coming back,
yeah,
the first result is basically what I'm using. And that sometimes could be random here. I found sometimes that happens.
Essentially the exponential. Yes, this is not the, but we just did drag. I mean, if you hybrid ask the LLM. No.
The LLM kind of transferred it into something else, because
that is true.
I would get a pretty accurate answer and I didn't really need to go to an LLM. But once I go to an LLM, it totally changes things. And that's the challenge that I was having. I was like, should I use an LLM? Should I not? Because the cross encoder was quite accurate in most of its answers.
Right. Anybody else would like to chime in on this part?
So last week, Asif, I
Mhm.
was looking at, as the teams were typing their question and response, I was looking at Mistral Vanilla from the web, which didn't have
Right.
the RAG. And
Yeah.
most of the answers that I was seeing in the teams that were showing up were the vanilla Mistral thing. And a
Mhm.
very little bit of what you had spoken was showing up in the responses. So that,
Yes. Sachin, that goes to the heart of the topic we'll cover in January. At this moment, what I'm noticing is most of you are not good at prompting. The prompt, if I bet you, if I were to read your prompt, you have put a lot of effort, but prompting it's almost communication skills. You have to prompt in a particular way to get good answers, and it takes a lot of trial and error to do that. So generally the teams that are doing well in these answers are the teams that spend inordinate amount of time getting their prompts right. Like, for example, Mani, Sushinder, they spent a lot of time working on the prompts and getting it right. And I think the same is true for the alchemists also. Srinath,
Yes,
was
sir.
that?
So yeah, we had spent enough time in figuring out what is the right way to give the prompt, and especially the templates that we have used, where we give messages and generate prompt out of it. I believe that essentially made a change in how the LLM reacts.
Right. And one of the things we'll start with in fine-tuning, actually the first topic in the workshop going forward will be quite literally prompting. I'll make you guys experts at prompting so that the LLM, you can harness the maximum power out of the LLM. And we'll do it not just by writing text, but by using programmatic techniques, many of the techniques that people are not aware of, but we'll cover them in extensive detail. So you can actually coax Mistral and these LLMs to produce much better answers.
So I think I agree, Asif. Meaning in that there is one part system prompt where you can instruct saying that answer must consider the context that is provided. So that way there will be responses from the the vanilla model of Mistral 7B or anything.
Yes.
Must consider the context that is provided and provide the context.
Yeah, and I'll give you a hint, guys. One thing you can do is take the response from the LLM, do a vector embedding of it, sentence embedding of it, and see how aligned it is to the question. If it is not aligned to the question, it has answered it is like you reject it and you retry. So retry is actually a crucial part of how you do things with LLMs, because LLMs are stochastic machines. You never know. Sometimes they'll give very good answers, sometimes they're not, even when you are doing the same thing. So by putting a different temperature variable, by having a reasonably high temperature to create creativity or variety in responses, and then you cherry pick the best. You make it produce, let's say, 5 responses, and you pick the best. If you notice that Gemini yesterday, I don't know, those of you who were following the Google's Gemini thing, pretty much they do the same thing. They produce as much as 32 responses, and then they cherry pick the best and giving it to the user. Yeah. So these are techniques. These are techniques I'll systematically cover as we move forward.
So Asif, I had one suggestion. I mean, this is very interesting that what you mentioned over here. You gave us the questions, right?
Yes.
But what we should have also done was either you or somebody should have gone independently and said, this is the gold standard answer that I'm expecting from it. Right? You should have given the solution as well. Not solution means not the how to do it, but saying this is the question and this is an answer that can be expected from this model. So then we know that, oh, there are these 10 questions, how better we can work with the prompt. And we know that this answer is possible, right? Given the LLM and the transcripts and things like that. So that way, the problem becomes contained.
That is true. I should have given as a benchmark. The idea was not to give, like, then what happens is people program to the solution.
Right. No, but what I meant was that at least we would have, I've been looking at the other things that they do with the AP exams and things like that, right? There's a question and paper and seeing that how good the models are behaving against them, right? Something like that. If we had known, then we would have known that, okay, we are tripping, we are doing something wrong. And then it would have kind of fostered saying that more better is possible, right?
Yes.
And then the final thing, you could have shown different set of questions, right?
Yeah, excellent. I'll take that feedback. It's a very good point taken. You will see, I'm doing something like that in the part 2. In the Jupyter notebooks, I'm giving you a lot of fill in the blank labs in which I give you the answer that your code needs to produce. But I think what you're suggesting is, even for the projects, set a benchmark. Say that this is the sort of output I expect. I'll do that. It's a very good feedback.
So this was the last question that I asked. I don't think BLIP is bidirectional language image processing. Maybe it is.
Yeah, that is not. It is image grounded text encoding. And clip, blip, contrastive loss, image pre-processing. And B is for, I forgot, maybe it is for bidirection. Somebody can look at it. But loss, okay. It may not be. Is a layer of the encoder. Models is a layer of the encoder called the cross attention. Yes, that answer is correct, actually. Image grounded text encoding in blip. Models is a layer of the encoder called the cross. It basically, that's the heart of it. This layer takes in the image vector and hybridizes it with the encoded text vector, which results from the initial self-attention layer. The cross-attention layer provides the grounding point that connects image and text. Actually, beautiful. This answer is absolutely on the dot. And I think of all the teams, for this question, your answer is the best. Because it goes...
I think the first question was dot. I think I looked at the other person's answer. So the attention was perfect. Ours was perfect. And I didn't even need to go to the LLM. Once I went to the LLM, it gave me kind of a more watered down version. So sometimes I was wondering, should I go to the LLM, not go to the LLM?
Yeah, no, the answer to that question is a good thing. LLMs, if you prompt it well, if you harness the LLMs well, they always synthesize the search results and produce a net better answer. Because let's go back to the theory of this RAG. It's retrieval augmented generation. LLMs have parametric knowledge, right? Because they have learned from the world knowledge. So they are deeply imbued with a lot of knowledge. The point of giving search results is, in a way, it is like on the fly, like a in-context learning in some sense. You're saying, now adapt your answer to these facts and ground it in these facts. So you get the benefit of both retrieval as well as parametric knowledge. So you should always do both, not just one or the other, do both. But we need to, and I guess this is, this almost makes a strong case for what we are going to do the very first thing in January, namely become experts in systematically prompting.
Asif, in the interest of the social thing, I'll tell people also that what has happened is, remember, like when we got to the internet age, we said, oh, Google says it is correct.
Yeah.
Now the thing has happened that if ChatGPT is saying that is correct, is the notion that has started to spread. And what happened is the kids have gotten so good at using it, they have stopped thinking and questioning, saying that, is it even like telling us the right things or not? So what I've been doing is, with the kids that I mentor, I'm actively telling them about how this works and how to go back and refer and make sure that it is not hallucinating or telling wrong things to you. So this is a big problem that people need to be aware. The kids are quickly catching up onto this and saying ChatGPT, and they're not telling you that it's coming from ChatGPT.
That's true.
So it's a big issue. I mean, for us, we are trying to get it better, but they're not realizing that this is completely throwing them off, right?
Right. No, there are many problems with generative AI. Hallucination, of course, is leading to a practical collapse of reality. We are blurring the boundaries between fact and fiction. That is one. And the other thing that it is doing is the imperfections. Like, for example, this is the season in which college students write their the graduate school applications, and school students write their applications for college, and they write their so-called personal statement or things like that. Now, here is something remarkable I observed. There are so-called AI detectors, because universities and graduate schools, they tell you explicitly, don't use a LLM. If you use an AI, we will know, and basically we'll take a very dim view of your application. True. Now, I observed something. If you take pains and write well, like if you have good communication skills and you have taken, and then you put your text through one of these AI detectors that I was playing with, I observed that it will call it AI written. But you take your thing and you degrade the quality of the diction, the writing, and then it says it's human written. It's a problem. What it means is now you would be scared of writing well because you would be considered to be cheating. Strange.
So one more thing that I had to do was I had to stream back the audio.
Yes.
So from my endpoint, I have to convert to base 64, encode it, convert to base 64, and then decode it and present it. So that was the other thing that was a little challenging.
Oh, yes, that's true. That's true.
Because another way was to basically store it in a place and kind of load it here, load in the front end and figure out some way. But the clean way was to do it this way. And so that took me a little time.
Base 64 encoding. Yes.
And the UI was hard, to tell you honestly. I had to bring everything together.
Yes.
So all these, there are different components here. There are several components, and to bring it all together, like even this is doing it at real time, right? So
Yes.
hide and generate. So I have to keep the design and the flex boxes all together.
The good part is
No,
that
it's beautifully done. It's beautifully done with a lot of aesthetics. The one thing that would help, because you guys put so much effort in getting the voice right, I wish we could hear your voice. Would you like to give 5 minutes to try and see if you can stream the voice to everyone in the audience? Because then we'll start the ratings.
Voice is actually working in my notebook, Albert.
Why don't you present, take this, I wish you can take the same text and just convert. Yeah, why don't you present your stuff? Yeah, because.
Okay. 1 second.
Let me stop.
Yeah, before you do that, Praveen, could you please put up a form, that voting form? I don't know how people have done it, but that voting form that got created for those 5 areas, do you know how to do that?
I can
Because apparently simple poll won't let us do that.
I think this one, yeah. So I mean, I have a basic retriever here, and it's using the recursive character splitter from LangChain, and mostly I've used LangChain. In this notebook, I just wanted to have a sort of a POC working before we plug things together, and I've been making like slow progress on that. Now, I have like voice to voice working. Let me go. Yeah, so this is the thing I have to run. So what it is doing is it's having a Mistral 7B local LLM, and I have a hybrid search. Loaded all the transcripts, 308 transcripts that Asif provided, and using 11 labs and or OpenAI.audio Whisper for speech to text. So initially I had a voice-to-voice chatbot kind of thing working. Then I plugged in this RAG into it. It is a bit slow in terms of what is deep learning? Let's see. Okay, it picked up some noise as well. Okay, let me stop it. Okay, let me try again one more time. So the exact chunk, what was it, Albert? The question that you were trying. Let me pull up that question. What was the exact prompt, Albert? Albert? Okay, please go on mute. I'm searching for the thing, the prompt.
The prompt, like take one of these. I don't remember the exact, but one was about attention.
Take the attention one.
Okay. Okay. What are the key components of attention in neural networks? What are the key components of attention in neural networks? I've shared the sound. I think you should get it. Okay, it's a big chunk. It will take some time to, hear that voice.
Jade, was this multilingual V2 or the Turbo?
Yeah. It is multilingual V2.
Okay.
It's a four-line chunk. It will take some time to get that thing.
Asif?
Yes.
To suggest a little bit of a change for the next bootcamp if you're doing things, right? Jay did a lot of work and a lot of Jupyter notebooks and things like that. He did quite a lot of prototype and shared it within our group itself, right? But what I would suggest is these snippets and things which are there, there should be a general channel where people, if they find their understanding, they kind of publish it so that everybody else is able to leverage off of the learning and people kind of get the building parts rather than everybody stumbling into it. And it also helps everyone come board so that I know we are learning everyone together, but there
Attention is a mechanism used in neural networks to focus on specific parts of the input data while processing it. It is a way of assigning importance to different parts of the input data based on their relevance to the task at hand. The key components of attention include the query, key, and value vectors. These vectors are used to calculate the attention scores for each item or token in the input data. The attention scores are then used to determine how much attention to pay to each item or token. In neural networks, attention is often used in combination with feed-forward networks and other mechanisms to process and classify data. For example, in a dense feed-forward network, attention is used to focus on specific parts of the input data before passing it through the feed-forward network for further processing. Overall, attention is a powerful tool in neural networks that allows for more efficient and effective processing of complex data. Beautiful, actually. First of all, the answer is correct. I really like it. It got all parts of the answer right. The one subtlety was I asked for attention. It answered attention. It also spoke about self-attention, but that's all right. The main point it brought out very well, that it's a differential focus on different parts of the input. And the voice, I let you guys tell. What do you think of the voice? I felt it was pretty good.
Gold standard.
Love this.
Sorry, I'm kind of promoting, but I really, after listening to the voice, I really said I need to finish this project.
Yes. Asif, I think it's better than the real Asif. So.
Yes. Yeah, I wish I could speak so well.
Asif, if one of us gets a call from you with this cloning and asking that you should give some money right away, I'm stuck somewhere. We can totally keep this one.
Yeah.
I felt it was Asif 1.5x.
Yeah, I don't
I don't know if you
remember.
guys got the joke. Fast forward
Okay.
Asif with 1.5x.
Oh boy.
So there are, I mean, I was playing with the parameters over here. I think the stability is something, if we go beyond 1.8 or 1.85, it was causing a lot of pauses in between that I didn't understand why it was doing. So yeah, but I think this was like,
I tend to
Pretty
have
close. Yeah.
when you teach, one of the rules you learn is that after saying something important, wait a little bit for for audience to cognitively catch up. So in my sessions, pauses are very frequent, I would imagine.
that's right.
Praveen is
Yeah.
saying
No, it's 1.5.
speed.
Yeah.
The speed of conversation. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So a couple of other things that I found interesting as of, I was, playing with the LangChain tools mainly, and I got introduced to Flare Chain and a couple of other things as well. And one thing that was interesting is the cache. People are using cache to, improve the inference speed. That's one thing. And
I'm not familiar with it. Please show that again.
I don't know if I have that in this notebook, but oh yeah, so this cache.
Oh, cache. Okay, you cache the results.
Cache.
Okay.
Yeah.
To preserve the context, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that.
So actually, it improves the speed with which the LLM gives the output. Meaning, so first of all, right in the vector store or in the retriever, the chunks get cached first. And let's say you are doing a chatbot, a RAG chatbot. You would want the chunks to be there. I mean, the same chunks. You would want it to be in the cache to improve the inference speed. So that was happening right at the vector store for the chunks. And also the LLMs had like a cache also, like before you plug into the the Hugging Face pipeline. That was an interesting thing. That was, I mean, for me, I was seeing a difference of 3 times or 4 times sometimes when I was playing with the chatbot. So yeah, about the other things, I had Flare working, but that, I mean, we couldn't bring it out to the final project. But I plugged in the the Mistral 7B into the Flare.
Okay.
So Llama Index library was flexible in terms, I can plug in local LLM into it, that library. But yeah, the same was available as a Flare chain in LangChain, and was hard coded for OpenAI. So but this one, I had like, I mean, we need to go into the details of these like APIs, because the moment I plugged in my local LLM into it, the Mistral, the output was not, very good. It wasn't even as good as LLM output. With RAG, it was doing something. And I couldn't understand what was going inside, so I actually gave up. But writing our own APIs or writing our own RAGs or flares actually helps, I think, in that regard.
Actually, so one thing, absolutely I agree with your point. In fact, one of the first things you will learn as we go into powerful techniques of prompting and fine-tuning is that the prompt that you write for RAG, there is a proper way of doing it. And it is never one shot. Like it is, you do sort of, in some sense, a chain of reasoning like approach. And that helps you more. So we will cover that. Let's keep all that fun for next time. But there's some of the things that you're discovering, Jay, absolutely are on the dot. And in fact, those are the muscles that you'll develop going forward. You already seem to have a leg up. You have discovered a lot of things on your own.
Thanks, Asif. That's all I had.
Asif, I was telling that Jay has put in a lot of effort and a lot of these notebooks that he was publishing within our group itself, but it would have actually helped quite a lot if he had published it in the general audience, and everyone else would have also seen and appreciated.
You can leave the footwear there if possible.
Guys, in fact, that's what I will request you now. Those teams which are willing, I know that some teams are using this code base for their startup, so they are welcome not to share, but those of you who are willing to share, let us now, I'll create a repository. Let us all check in our projects to that so that we can all learn from each other's solutions. So I posted my solution, but let's let other teams which have done, I'm sure that every team has done something much better than others. And let us all share our learning from this bootcamp into the GitHub. So
Asif, I use your solution quite well, and I learned it inside out. And thanks to Chandar for explaining things to me. I don't have everything working, but I can do the entire multimodal probably with your solution. And it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, guys. So time for voting. Can somebody help me? Praveen, were you able to create a voting form? Oh, you already posted it. Okay, guys, let's go and vote. This is a lot of good work.
Give us 5 stars for everything. We put in a lot of work.
Oh, you're asking for 5 stars for everything, is it? Let's see if people agree with you. Where is the link to? Okay, so there is a. All right, guys, let's take a few minutes. Please do vote. Please do participate. And Praveen, thank you for putting this thing here.
Are you able to see?
Yeah, I'm able to see the form. Yes. Yeah. So I think only Praveen, you can see the total coming through, isn't it? Yeah. So guys, when all of you have voted, I'll really appreciate it. Praveen will let us know what the findings are. Let's have all 16 votes, 17 votes here. Any feedback, guys? What did you think of this demo?
The voice cloning was amazing.
Yes. That's very
I like the UI as well, because in the UI, Albert made an effort in terms of retaining the history as well of the questions. We could see question after question what were the responses, and the UI was pretty clean.
Nice. I agree.
That was several hours of work. And I also used Asif's code base to get all the chunks. So I've changed it a lot. And I put in a lot of effort there. And I worked with Jai a lot because Jai had all this stuff done. But to integrate it all and bring it all together, we were struggling for the last 2 weeks because he had all the answers, but one place using LangChain. And so to get that working on my environment and get all sorts of errors. So it was a little hard, but then eventually we decide what to use and what not to use.
Nice. By the way, this Patrick just mentioned Hyde paper. Hyde is this hypothetical document embedding is a very important concept. Patrick, did I do the paper reading on that, or I have not done it so far on Hyde?
No, I don't think any prompt engineering papers yet, Asif.
Okay, yeah. I suppose I've kept all of those for next time. But Hyde is, if you guys want to get a head start, do read up the Hyde paper. It's very good, actually. It really improves your document, the sentence transformer. The effectiveness of your retrieval is hugely amplified with this. Patrick, you're ready? How about your team? When are you guys presenting? Patrick is quiet. Oh, Praveen is saying. Okay, next week, guys, we'll really look forward to Patrick and Praveen at the Andes Mountains presenting. I know that they have done a mountain of work, actually. They have really been working very hard, and it's the only team, to my knowledge, that has been fine-tuning, that is already busy fine-tuning.
Yeah, it's mostly the backlog from the fine-tuning and a little bit on the audio as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be ready hopefully by next week.
Nice. And Hamad was going to present. He wanted to present, but he hasn't showed up here yet. Let me call him and get some thing out. So guys, here's an announcement. I will be releasing the registration form for the next bootcamp, the continuation of this part 2. Initially, I thought I'll break it up into 3 different things. It's just too much administrative work for me. To advertise, to put it, announce it here and there, and so on and so forth, is just way too much work. So I'm just going to announce part 2 of this LLM with everything. The additional things, those of you who came late, I just wanted to mention, it will have the nature of the boot camp and the workshop. In other words, I noticed that some people, they lost participation in the project. It didn't quite suit them. So it will be both a workshop and a boot camp in the sense that for every day, there will be the paper reading, the explanation, there will be the project as before, but there will also be quizzes for self-review. And I will also be releasing a lot of Jupyter notebooks with little exercises in them so that, you can make steady progress in understanding the material, just as I do for Jupyter notebooks for all the other workshops. So it will have the dual nature of both a workshop and a boot camp. Right? That's the additional thing that will be there. Right? And I'll be announcing it pretty soon. So do please register.
So why are you not using the old channel to announce it, just like what you did the first boot camp?
No, what is happening is when I announce it by email, we will announce by email. More than half the times, it goes into people's Gmail social folder.
Okay.
Not spam, but social folder. And nobody ever goes and checks their social, because everybody receives so many social emails, marketing emails, and so forth. So most of the time, people don't even come to know about the courses except by word of mouth or accidentally.
Okay.
So I don't know. We will announce it like that. I'm just looking for more effective ways of getting the word out.
So when are you planning?
January 15th.
January 15th, right? So this meetup, that what you're doing, try to do like twice a week the paper reading, if you want. And the audience that comes, there you actively say that I'm doing the phase 2 of the boot camp,
Yeah.
and you're willing to join that, and even if you didn't come in the first boot camp, there's
Yeah.
material available where you can catch up.
We
And
could
so
do
that
that.
way you have
Yeah.
direct access to the people, and they will, so even if you get say another 10, 15 people join in,
Yeah.
they will not be felt left out in the boot camp too. They
Right.
have enough material to catch up. So you will start getting active registrations till Jan 15th is what I'd say.
That is right. I could do that. I could do that. So yeah, I'll definitely announce it in the the paper reading audience. I'll announce it. We'll announce it on the Support Vectors LinkedIn and Support Vectors meetup, and all the usual channels. But I think the most effective is just telling people when they're here that we are doing it. So you will receive it on Slack and you'll receive it by email. Watch out for it.